Hey folks, it's me, Dr. Mike, for Renaissance Periodization. Today's BS series topic is diet culture. You may have heard of it. It's all the new rage. So what is diet culture? Diet culture is the notion that there exists a subculture of sort of pro-diet interests. Folks and corporations and organizations that try to get people to follow diets more or less all the time, to shrink them down and make them thin so they can fit into the American apple pie ideal and be happy, Joker style, right? And they kind of want everyone to diet kind of all the time because they make money from it, and it encourages the thin ideal, which is patriarchal and all these other bad things. And that means this very powerful subculture, this culture of diet culture, has a strict body shape enforcement. If you fall outside of the norms of what diet culture considers appropriate, you're labeled fat and grotesque and terrible. If you're too thin, they rail on you for that too. And they kind of sort of want everyone, and this is sort of the idea is that's imbued in many people's hearts. And so some people even have this kind of false consciousness of thinking that these things are good, even though they've been tricked by these cultural forces and mega corporations into, strict dieting at all times. Like if you're supposed to consider it bad when you have chocolate cake because it's off the plan and everyone's supposed to be strict all the time. And also there's this dichotomy between good eating and bad eating. There's a lot of shaming going on. And that is sort of all under this umbrella of diet culture. That's the notion. There are many, many problems with this. Elements of it are absolutely true. But elements of something being true doesn't make the whole grand scheme true, right? If I claim that I can get in the ring with Mike Tyson and beat him up, just because I can throw a few punches and even get some glancing blows in doesn't mean I'm going to win. So the claim of I can beat up Mike Tyson versus I can step in the ring with Mike Tyson, which is technically correct as long as I can physically step in the ring, two very different claims. Right? I can even have a picture of me in boxing gloves and you'd be like, see, Dr. Mike's doing it. Doing what exactly? We don't know yet. So let's break it down and find out how much BS is behind this diet culture claim. First, the strict body shape enforcement, the attempt to put people on diets, the good versus bad, that's not even perpetuated by one group of people. There are at least two groups of people, many more, but at least two groups we can think automatically are very, very different people and that have nothing to do with each other, and they're not part of the same culture. So it automatically makes diet culture as one uniform monolithic entity totally wrong. At the very least, there are two groups. Group one is like alt-right incels and just really impolite people that make fun of fat people and fat shame them into doing diets, or fat shame them into just shaming them because shaming people is fun and it makes you feel powerful. So anytime you get like, some kind of like Cosmo puts like an overweight woman on, medically overweight woman on their cover, you'll get comments on their Insta and they'll inevitably shut the comments down, but you'll get comments from incels and, people with like Pepe the Frog or the anonymous symbol or just no profile picture at all with 0 followers and they follow 200 people, nobody follows them, private accounts, classic. They'll say, oh, you fat bitch, this is gross, what the fuck, all the shit like this. You got to get on a diet, put the fork down, word up. But when you're 15 and have a little dirt stash and are a chronic masturbator and nobody talks to you, you're not exactly a monolithic force for cultural change. And sure as hell have diddly dick to do with group number 2 that gets associated with diet culture. You're just part of the hate culture, which is, you need to entertain yourself somehow when you have no friends. Group 2 is the fitness industry itself, which is not really composed of any of those people. The fitness industry on average generally says nothing negative about people that are overfat. It's quite rare to hear that because they're trying to welcome as many overfat people into the realm as possible so that they can accomplish their goals, so that the fitness industry can get you thinner or get you on a diet or whatever it is that it wants to do with you, which is to say really help you accomplish the goals that you want. One side, the incel, nasty YouTube and Instagram comments side, that's the dark side. The fitness industry has its darks and its lights, but it's a very different approach. One of them wants to help you, maybe even if you don't need the help. That's what the fitness industry might do. The other side is just full of hateful teenagers or people who are mentally teenaged, but any variety of ages and genders and so on and so forth. This is not one group of people. So to lump those two people is the way that diet culture proponents will say this is they'll look at fitness industry ads with people with ripped abs and be like, this could be you. And they'll look at comments under fatter people's bios or their pictures that they post that are super hateful and be like, this is diet culture. It's two different cultures, man. Two completely different cultures. So already this is a misdiagnosis of instantly more complicated phenomenon than just saying this is just this one thing. Wrong. Point number 3. There is this idea that some of the deeper diet culture proponents have that diet culture, which they usually in some places will ... say in parentheses, capitalism, tries to get you to oscillate between focusing on fitness and trying to get lean and shredded, and then focusing on junk food and trying to get you super fat. That way, if they can get you fat, they set you up for going through the cycle where you get thin again and spend money in the fitness industry. Then you're thin again. You can spend money eating fatty food that gets you fat. And then you're ready to go into the fitness industry. And it's like this, the opposite of an virtuous cycle where capitalism, by insulting your identity, by giving you a false consciousness about what you want and believe, strips you of your financial resources, your mental resources, and the very character that you were born with, while cycling you through this thing of getting you fatter, getting you thinner, getting you fatter, getting you thinner, all while the fat cats collect the cash. Here's the thing. There's no fucking conspiracy to oscillate you from fat to thin. There is none. The intersection between fitness companies that try to get you leaner and McDonald's is like this paper thin slice where McDonald's gives you salads and partners with some fitness company to, hey, if you want to get fit, you could also do it through McDonald's, is two largely unrelated industries. Okay. RP does not get funding from like the company that makes ho-hos. Be like, hey, here's money to help these people get lean. Once they're lean, tell them to come back to us so they can have ho-hos. We don't do that. This is an unbelievably rare phenomenon. It's two kind of competitive industries that if the fitness industry was gone altogether and everyone accepted that being fat was amazing, McDonald's Inc. would be like, this is the greatest fucking thing that's ever happened. We can just focus on feeding people the food they want without having to make weird menu items like salads. People don't even really like ordering them. And when they do, they feel weird and we feel weird. Just one fucking vector is so much simpler of just give people the tasty food they want and they don't care about the rest. Is so much easier for a corporation to do than for them to be like, here's food that you want, but if you eat too much, you come back to us and you can have a salad. Right? In the fitness industry, would love it if there's no fucking McDonald's. So we can just finally get everyone super fucking in shape and everything is great and hunky-dory. That's our fucking goal. People going to McDonald's, our clients going to McDonald's, hurts the results that we're able to get from them. They're like, yeah, I was on the diet, then I went to McDonald's and I ate everything, including the change out of the fucking cashier station. Oh my God, how hungry were you? Like, the change has a little bit of that oil on it, that French fry grease. Oof, I can't eat nickels and quarters. So this is not one culture. They're literally antagonistic to each other in almost every case. Ideally, McDonald's would love to have a society-wide acceptance of health at every size because they could just dump all their stupid fucking healthy foods that barely sell at all and focus on their core products. And, generally McDonald's sells you the salad with about as much reluctance as you have in buying it and eating it. They're like, salad that you may be interested in? And then you're like, maybe, okay, fine, here's money. I'll see you in a couple days for the cheeseburger that you want to sell me and that I want to buy. So there goes the whole monolithic culture. Furthermore, we can find at least 3 other places in which diet culture supposedly lives all at the same time. First is it lives very separately in the minds of assholes who say mean things to fat people. That is not diet culture. That's just people being mean. If you actually talk to people who are mean to fat people and you're like, hey, so you said to that one bitch, you're a fat cow, fuck you, on Instagram, did you really mean to sort of stick a little pin in there and get her to do something about her weight so that she could eventually be super healthy and happy? If they were being truthful, most of those people would be like, what? Like, she's fat. I'm just calling her fat because she's fat. She shouldn't be fat. Like, oh, I see. You're just a piece of shit. Yes. That's it. So that's group number 1. They don't have some kind of Napoleonic plan to get people into dieting. They're not trying to socially engineer people. They're just assholes. They're just mean people. That's it. That's group one. Okay. That's not exactly diet culture in their heads. That's something completely different. Another way this occurs is it exists in the minds of fat people or fatter people, often as an independent desire to be less fat. It turns out dieting companies that sell exercise equipment, companies that sell healthy foods, companies that sell literal diets like RP, they're not incepting people with the idea that they should want to be on a diet or that they should want to be leaner or thinner. I am the second in command at RP, and I have a grand view of our marketing strategy. We're a multi-million-dollar corporation. We don't ever, ever, ever have to convince people that they should be leaner. We already know they want to be leaner. And if people didn't want to be leaner, we would offer them products to make them something else. A bunch of our products don't even have to do with people getting leaner. They have to do with people getting jacked and stronger and bigger. We sell mass gaining diets, for the love of God. We sell mass gaining diets versus cutting diets. Private intel here, about 5% to 95% ratio. Most people come to us, as most people come to every part of the fitness industry, because they want to lose weight and they want to lose fat and they want to be leaner. Nobody ever fucking told them that. Sure as hell, not from diet culture in the fitness industry. You don't have to convince people to want to be lean. They want to be lean for the most part, just in here, just to begin with. This day is coming. It has to happen as long as nuclear winter doesn't destroy society or some shit. There will be a time when genomic medicine gets so advanced that you'll have a single pill or a viral vector that will just instantly make you not obese forever. What fraction of currently obese people that aren't becoming leaner because they're not engaging with the fitness industry or whatever, they tried, it didn't work, what fraction of them you think will take that pill? My private, humble hypothesis is 99.99999%. Because most of those people, they want to be leaner, really deep down inside. It wasn't diet culture that told them they need to be leaner. They already wanted to be leaner. And diet companies and training companies had some marginally effective solutions for them, and maybe they weren't that great and they exited, and maybe they were great and they bought in and they did the thing. Maybe they oscillated up and down, sometimes using the solutions, sometimes not. But that desire to be leaner comes really, really fucking from within is the vast majority of the time. So the idea that there's a culture imposing that is just mostly untrue, right? And number three, that fraction of, we can conceptualize part of diet culture, which is starting to be this really like multiply tiered entity that has nothing to do with itself. Another vector comes from offerings from the fitness industry, which is, by the way, also not a monolithic entity, because like you could call RP and V-Shreds part of the same industry, but we're fucking rabid competitors against each other. So again, it's not really much cooperation, but nor do we agree on a bunch of stuff. But the offerings of the fitness industry will gladly offer you a diet, for example, for any reason or no reason at all. Right? The fitness industry is just trying to make money, selling to you what it thinks you already want, because changing customer opinion borders on impossible. Like you talk to any high-level marketing execs or experts, and you be like, hey, we have this target demographic. Can we convince them to like our product? And you'll be like, what are you out of your fucking mind? Good luck. Because the amount of money you'll spend trying to do that is going to bury you. And the amount of money you spend trying to just give them what they already like is like teeny tiny and gives you huge returns. Okay. That's how all of industry works. Okay. Intel could absolutely be like, hey, you want a slower chip. You want a chip that doesn't process fast? And let's relax a little bit. We're already super rich. Your computer's fast enough. Why would they say that? Well, because making faster chips is fucking brutal. It's so fucking hard and it costs billions every year in R&D. Ideally, they would be like, look, enough. Here's a chip that works just fine. That would be amazing. If you would just continue to pay them for that, that would be awesome. But they know that's not what you want. You want faster and faster. You're the reason Intel is hard at work making chips and all these other corporations are doing that. Same with the fitness industry. Because you want to be leaner, because you want to diet to make you look like XYZ, the fitness industry provides. And it doesn't even fucking matter what you want to look like. If tomorrow everyone woke up and they were like, I want to weigh 400 fucking pounds, the day after that, the entirety of the fitness industry, 99% of it, would shift to giving you mass gaining diets because they couldn't give a flying fuck what people look like. They just want to make money. That's why the fuck I'm in the shit. You see me? Lamborghinis absolutely are not free. I need money, goddammit. So if you are a person coming to the fitness industry looking for values, if you're looking for the fitness industry to tell you what you should look like, to tell you what diet you should use, to tell you should you be leaner or fatter or anything in between, that is the same thing as coming to an appliance salesperson at, like whatever, like Amazon warehouse or whatever, wherever you go to buy your appliances, like, just like a regular appliance store, and asking them, hey, what appliances should I buy? What are you, fucking crazy? They'll give you the world's most modern, up-to-date kitchen that costs $70,000 fucking dollars. You'll have an air fryer, you'll have this, you'll have that, tons of shit you don't barely fucking need because their job's just to sell you as much shit as possible. Now, they want you to be happy and a satisfied customer. So they're not going to go overboard with the shit. They're going to fill your shit up to a huge extent. So if you ask the fitness industry, hey, do you guys think I should be doing a diet? Most of them be like, fuck yeah. And as a matter of fact, we have to sell it to you. What you want to do with your own body has to be a choice you make yourself. Maybe with a medical professional, maybe with other people, your friends and family, and maybe you're reading articles on the evidence-based side of the fitness industry. They're trying to just lay out the landscape for you. You don't just go to the fitness industry and be like, what should I do? A lot of this diet culture stuff is basically expecting the fitness industry to be this wise arbiter of what you should be doing. That's not their fucking job. Their job is to give you what you want. And if you want to be thinner, that's fucking what they're going to give you. And if you want to be thicker, that's what they're going to give you. But if you come up to them and go, what do I want? They're going to be like, to buy our products a lot. And you're going to be like, okay, is that it? They're like, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Here's a $900 bill for all the diets in the world. So these are three very separate places that, again, almost nothing to do with each other. And it's important to understand that so we can allow the myth of a monolithic diet culture to break down, because in reality, nothing like that really exists. Now, with all the shit being as real as it is, what can you do on your end to be effective in reaching the goals you want, and to some extent not experience all the negatives associated with this bullshit? Well, I got at least 3 ideas. First, make it clear, to the extent that you're comfortable with or able to do, and when you feel like it, to people around you that being mean isn't cool, right? The fun thing to say here is, you shouldn't be saying things to people, even on the internet, that you would still say if Jesus was on your, like, imagine Jesus was standing right here and looking at me while I was on the internet and telling fat people they're gross and disgusting. He'd be like, hey, what are you typing? And you're like, oh, I'm just I'm just DMing with friends. He's like, oh yeah? Who's fat girl 69? Is that your friend? You're like, oh yeah, I know, we're super close. Uh-huh. He's like, oh, cool. You're calling her a fucking cow. It's like an inside joke. She's cool with that. And you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Jesus, I've just been so mean my whole life. I just don't know how to change, right? Okay, if you're not into Jesus, grandma. You guys know grandma from this channel. Grandma standing here, cyberpunk upgraded robot grandma standing here, and she's got a laser blaster. You better not fuck with that bitch. She's going to zap your dumb ass. Don't do mean shit. This is not cool. So before you go on the internet and tell fat people you hate them, what the fuck is wrong with you? Take some fucking time to meditate or some shit like that. Find that goddamn love from within, because holy fucking shit, you got some issues. Next, no matter what body shape or size or place in the diet sphere you find yourself in, work on your inner self to determine your own happy path for you and what you want to look like and eat like and be like and feel like and the people you want to surround yourself with. This can mean that you do diets sometimes, other times you live your life in balance, and there's no need for either or. You don't need to tell yourself, look, I got to be on a diet 24/7 because I got to be thin because that's what society and diet culture want. What? The opposite is just as stupid. I'm never going to do a diet because it's all capitalist, downstream, heteronormative, patriarchal bullshit. And they want me to be thin, so I'm one of their fucking round pegs. What? Like, if you think you're a little overweight or underweight, get on a fucking rational, reasonable, logical, science-based diet. Get that shit handled. Switch to a healthy eating plan that is mostly not prescriptive and there's tons of free wiggle room, and do whatever you want. Stay involved in fitness and live your fucking happy life. And if you need to diet again after the holidays, great. If you don't, no problem. There's no wrong answers here. You just don't want to do things as like a rebellion against this idea of this culture imposing on you, because it's all fictitious. It's just not there. It's just all on you to do what you like with yourself, right? And lastly, a bit of self-serving here. I'll always be honest about that. When you interact with fitness companies, it's probably good that you choose companies that aren't trying actively to trick you into buying products you don't need. Instead, interact with fitness companies that offer you options all in your best interests, right? There's companies that do a really great job of being like, hey, like, here's what we have to offer. And if you're in the market for this, great. If not, no big deal. Does not include only RP. Precision Nutrition, what a great fucking company. Stronger by Science, so less on the diet stuff and more on the training stuff. 3DMJ. I could go on and on for a very long time. There's so many companies that are just honestly trying to help you with whatever it is you need. And they're not going to preach to you and say, you need to do this, or you're too fat, or you're too thin. They have no agenda. And if you're in the fitness industry, you can be one of the good guys by just being a service provider, right? And just if people come to you and they say, hey, I'm thinking about doing a diet, you talk to them and you go, oh yeah, like why? And they're like, well, like I'm 5 pounds overweight. I need to really smash these 5 pounds off. Then the reality is like, you'd be like, how are you eating? And they're like, well, I have this much junk and this blah, blah, blah. You say, look, you just like eat more fruits and veggies and your 5 pounds will melt away within a few weeks. And that's probably true. And you don't even need to charge them money for that shit. But if they're like, look, I have a bodybuilding prep or I need to lose 30 pounds, I really need an in-person coach to guide me, I haven't been able to do this by myself, then yeah, you charge them fucking hundreds of dollars a month for super in-depth coaching that helps them like crazy and gives them exactly what they need, right? Like not everyone that interacts with Intel needs a fucking supercomputer. And some people interact with Intel, if you go on the customer service, sometimes they'll say, well, you reboot your system and your chip should work just fine. And that's free, right? Because Intel, I suspect, is a company that just kind of wants to help you with whatever you need. And if that's a product they have and the service they have, great. And if it's not, they might be like, hey, like, we can't help you here. Good luck. And maybe try some other places where you can take your business. That's the kind of shit you want to choose from fitness companies. People are just trying to help you wherever you're at. They know their ability to help. And if it's not within that realm, then they say, hey, like maybe you just try some other stuff out. People will contact me for diet advice. And if it's outside of my scope, because I'm not a registered dietitian, I'll just be like, oh, I'm actually have no experience or education or legal authority to work with people who have liver disease of your kind. But we have some folks at RP that are RDs that may be able to help you. And here's some other companies outside that might be able to help you. And here's some reading to do, right? Because at the end of the day, the ideal company just helps you where you're at. And if you choose companies more like that and less like the scummy, shitty companies of yesteryear that just want to scam you out of products fly by night, the more that you choose the companies that are doing a good job, the more money those other companies will lose. And eventually companies just get better at stuff, right? And then we live in a world in which most corporations are just there to provide you with good stuff, right? How's that for a fucking polemic? All of this because of point number 6. One monolithic cultural entity called diet culture is bullshit. It just doesn't exist. The fucked up minds of mean incel teenagers in Amsterdam, sorry to pick on Amsterdam. It's just cooler when incels are European because when they talk shit to you, they make slight mistakes in English and it's just funny. I don't know, that's an aside. People who are themselves overweight, who have their own issues to deal with, and then the fitness industry trying to navigate that space. There's at least 3 different things going on and possibly more. There's not one big diet culture that's trying to get you to look like the ideal 1950s woman or some shit, turkey basting in the oven and the husband comes home, meh, see? And she's like, meh. Although, that world does sound pretty fun. You live in an adult world. You're an adult. You got to take care of number 1. Find out what you want. Find out the most efficient way to get it from folks that are truly, really trying to help you and they're all out there. And you don't have to worry about diet culture at all. But if you want to worry about it, let's worry about it together. See you guys next time at Worried.